Have you ever wondered why some people remain calm and unshaken no matter what life throws at them? Why some individuals seem to transform their struggles into strength, while others collapse under the weight of pressure? The secret lies in an ancient philosophy known as Stoicism. This way of thinking, practiced by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, offers timeless wisdom that still applies to our daily challenges today. In this video, we're going to explore Stoic principles for modern life, practical strategies that can reshape how you think, act, and ultimately live. The first principle is the power of listening. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." In today's noisy world, most people talk more than they listen, constantly waiting for their turn to reply instead of truly hearing others. But real growth begins when we slow down, silence our ego, and pay attention. By listening deeply, we gain insights and perspectives that our own voice could never teach us. The second principle is preparing for the worst. Life is unpredictable. Jobs are lost, health can fail, and relationships sometimes break. The Stoics never denied these possibilities, they anticipated them. Epictetus taught, "Do not hope that events will happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." Preparation is not about pessimism, it's about resilience. Like a soldier who trains for every scenario, we too can strengthen our minds to meet challenges with calm courage. The third principle is embracing failure. Marcus Aurelius believed that setbacks are not obstacles but stepping stones. Failure is not the end of the journey. It is feedback, an opportunity to learn and refine our path. Every mistake chisels away at our rough edges, shaping us into stronger versions of ourselves. As Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." If you can view your failures as lessons, they become tools of growth rather than reasons for despair. The fourth principle is understanding that true wealth lies in contentment. We live in a society obsessed with possessions, status, and constant comparison. But Stoicism reminds us that real wealth is not about having more. It's about wanting less. Epictetus wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Contentment frees us from the endless chase of materialism. When you stop longing for what you don't have, you begin to fully enjoy what you already do. The fifth principle is accepting the inevitable. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is memento mori, remembering death. This isn't morbid, but rather a reminder that life is short and precious. Seneca once said, "You act like mortals in what you fear, and like immortals in what you desire." When we accept that our time is limited, we stop wasting it on trivial pursuits, and instead start living fully, loving more deeply, and focusing on what truly matters. The sixth principle is mastering your reactions. The Stoics believed we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Epictetus reminded us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction defines your character. If you respond with anger, you fuel chaos. If you respond with calm, you maintain control and turn adversity into strength." Mastering your reaction is like steering a ship through stormy waters. The storm may rage, but you still control the sails. The seventh principle is choosing the right company. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." The people you spend time with shape your soul. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, inspire you, and challenge you to grow, rather than those who drag you down. Just as a plant flourishes in fertile soil, you too flourish in the right environment. The eighth principle is humility. Socrates famously said, "I know that I know nothing." Wisdom begins with acknowledging our limitations. The Stoics valued humility because arrogance blinds us to growth, while humility keeps us open to learning. In a world overflowing with information, the wisest people are not those who claim to know it all, but those willing to remain students of life. The ninth principle is avoiding hatred. Marcus Aurelius taught, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Holding hatred in your heart only poisons your soul. Instead of sinking to the level of those who harm you, rise above. Forgiveness does not mean excusing wrongdoing. It means freeing yourself from the weight of bitterness and protecting your inner peace. The 10th principle is acceptance and focus. Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." Much of life lies outside our control. The Stoic path is not to resist reality, but to accept it fully. When we let go of fighting against what we cannot change, we free up our energy to focus on what we can control. This is where true strength lies, directing your effort toward what is within your power and letting go of the rest. Stoicism is not simply abstract philosophy, it is a way of life. Listen more than you speak. Prepare for storms. See failure as a teacher. Find wealth in gratitude. Accept death as a reminder to live fully. Master your reactions. Choose your circle wisely. Stay humble. Avoid hatred. Focus on what you can control. These are not just ideas to think about, but practices to live daily. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If you take these principles and apply them consistently, you will discover an inner resilience that no external chaos can break. And if you found value in this journey, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more wisdom. Remember, Stoicism only works when you practice it. Have you ever wondered why some people remain unshaken in the face of life's storms, while others crumble under the slightest pressure? Why some individuals walk through chaos with calmness, while others drown in their emotions? The answer lies in an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time for more than 2,000 years. Stoicism. Stoicism is not just a set of ideas buried in dusty old books. It is a practical way of living, a guide to enduring hardships, mastering emotions, and creating a life of unshakable strength. Today we're diving deep into the ultimate Stoic guide to life, blending ancient wisdom with modern challenges, and discovering how we can become stronger, calmer, and wiser in a world that never stops testing us. Stoicism was born in Athens around 300 BC, taught by Zeno of Citium, but it wasn't confined to the lecture halls of Greece. It spread to Rome and shaped some of the greatest minds in history. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king whose journal became one of the most important works of Stoic thought. Think of Seneca, the wise advisor who wrote letters on life, death, and the art of living well. Think of Epictetus, a former slave who rose above his circumstances and taught the world that true freedom lies within our own minds. Their lives were vastly different, but their philosophy was the same: that happiness does not depend on external events, but on how we choose to respond to them. The foundation of Stoicism lies in one simple but powerful idea: control what you can, accept what you cannot. This principle is like a compass that always points us in the right direction. Most of our suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable, other people's opinions, the outcomes of events, the twists of fate. The Stoics remind us, these things are outside our power. What lies within our power are our thoughts, our choices, and our actions. When we stop wasting energy on what's beyond us and focus on what is truly ours, we gain a level of freedom and peace that nothing can take away. Imagine you are stuck in heavy traffic. You can honk, shout, and curse at the cars ahead. But will that make the road clear any faster? No. What is within your control is your reaction. You can use the time to listen to something meaningful, to reflect, or to simply breathe. This is Stoicism in action, choosing calm over frustration, clarity over chaos. Now multiply this mindset across all areas of life, at work, in relationships, in health, and in times of loss. Suddenly, life looks very different. A central lesson of Stoicism is the inevitability of hardship. The Stoics never promised a life free of pain, struggle, or loss. In fact, they embraced the certainty that suffering will come. But here's the difference. They saw hardship as a teacher, not a curse. Every challenge, every setback, every obstacle is a chance to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle is not the end of your journey. It is the path itself. That painful breakup, that failed business, that illness, it is not here to destroy you, but to shape you into someone stronger. This perspective transforms how we live. Instead of asking, Why me? We ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, this is unfair, we say, this is training. Life is like a blacksmith's fire, and we are the iron. The flames of hardship are not there to burn us, but to forge us. The Stoic does not run from difficulty. The Stoic stands firm, knowing that pain is temporary, but the strength it builds is eternal. Another powerful practice in Stoicism is the art of mastering emotions. Now, don't misunderstand this. The Stoics did not preach becoming cold, robotic, or detached from feelings. They were human, just like us. But they understood that being enslaved by emotions leads to chaos. Anger makes us reckless. Fear makes us weak. Desire makes us restless. The Stoics sought not to kill emotions, but to govern them. Just as a skilled rider controls his horse, a wise person controls his passions. Think about the last time you were overwhelmed with anger. Did your reaction improve the situation, or did it make things worse? Most likely, it escalated the problem. Stoicism teaches us to pause, breathe, and see clearly before we act. Seneca once said, "Anger, an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured." Holding on to rage poisons us from within. The Stoic alternative is self-control, not weakness, but incredible strength. It takes more courage to stay calm than to explode. In today's world of endless distractions and constant noise, Stoicism also offers the gift of focus. We are bombarded by news, social media, and opinions at every turn. We scroll endlessly, consume endlessly, and worry endlessly. But what do we gain from it? Nothing but anxiety and fatigue. The Stoics would tell us to simplify, to cut away what does not serve us, and to focus only on what truly matters. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is this activity making me better? If the answer is no, then why waste your precious energy on it? The Stoics also practiced what is known as memento mori. Remember that you must die. At first, this sounds dark, even depressing. But the Stoics saw it differently. They believed that remembering our mortality is the key to living fully. Death is not an enemy, but a reminder that time is precious. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Imagine how your choices would change if you truly remembered that life is short. Would you waste hours in meaningless arguments? Would you put off your dreams for someday? Or would you live with urgency, gratitude, and purpose? This mindset pushes us to focus on what really matters, virtue. For the Stoics, the ultimate goal of life was not wealth, fame, or pleasure, but virtue, living in alignment with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. These four cardinal virtues form the backbone of Stoic living. Wisdom helps us see clearly. Justice helps us act fairly. Courage helps us face fear. And self-discipline helps us master desires. When we embody these virtues, we live not just for ourselves, but for the good of all humanity. Take courage, for example. In ancient times, it meant standing firm in battle, but in our modern world, courage might mean standing up for what's right, even if you stand alone. It might mean taking a leap of faith into a new career, or having the bravery to walk away from toxic people. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." How often have we magnified problems in our minds, only to realize later they were not as terrifying as we thought? Wisdom, too, is timeless. In Stoicism, wisdom is not about knowing everything, but about knowing how to live. It is about seeing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. When something goes wrong, wisdom says, "This is outside my control." When temptation calls, wisdom says, "This pleasure will fade, but my character will remain." Wisdom is the anchor that keeps us steady when life's winds blow strong. Justice, meanwhile, reminds us that we are all part of a greater whole. Stoicism is not selfish. It teaches us to treat others with fairness, kindness, and respect. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that humans are made for cooperation, like hands working together. In our modern age of division and conflict, this lesson is more relevant than ever. To live stoically is to live not just for yourself, but for your community, for humanity. And then there is self-discipline. Perhaps the hardest virtue of all, but also the most powerful. The ability to govern yourself, to say no when temptation whispers, to wake up early when your body says stay in bed, to keep going when your mind says quit. Discipline is freedom. Without it, we are slaves to our impulses. With it, we become masters of our destiny. The Stoics also practiced gratitude in a way that we often overlook. They didn't wait for perfect conditions to be thankful. They found gratitude even in hardships.
Why? Because every difficulty is a gift. Every obstacle is a chance to grow. When we complain less and appreciate more, life feels lighter. Epictetus advised, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens. Then you will be happy." In other words, embrace reality, and gratitude will follow. To live a Stoic life today, we don't need to retreat into caves or wear ancient robes. Stoicism is deeply practical. It can be applied in our jobs, in our families, and in our daily routines.
When a colleague criticizes you, practice self-control. When a plan fails, see it as training. When anxiety strikes, focus only on what you can control. These small daily practices build a foundation of unshakable strength. Over time, you'll find yourself less shaken by life's storms and more centered in your own peace. Let's take a modern example. Imagine you lose your job. For many, this would be devastating. But a Stoic would pause and say, "This is outside my control. But what is within my control is my response. I can see this as an ending, or I can see it as a beginning. I can panic, or I can plan." This mindset doesn't magically fix everything overnight, but it keeps you steady, calm, and capable of moving forward. Or take relationships. We often suffer when people don't behave the way we expect. We want them to love us, to support us, to never disappoint us. But Stoicism reminds us we cannot control other people. We can only control how we treat them, how we respond to them, and how we carry ourselves. This is liberating, because once you stop demanding control over others, you free yourself from endless disappointment. As we approach the end of this guide, remember this: Stoicism is not about escaping life. It is about engaging with life fully, with wisdom and strength. It is about living each moment with clarity, with courage, with gratitude. It is about becoming unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. The Stoics gave us a timeless gift, a philosophy that doesn't age, a wisdom that doesn't fade. And if you carry it with you, you too can live with calm in chaos, with strength in struggle, and with peace in uncertainty. So the next time life tests you, and it will, pause and ask yourself, what can I control? What virtue can I practice here? What lesson is life offering me right now? In these questions lies the heart of Stoicism. In these answers lies the path to a life of resilience, purpose, and unshakable peace. That is the ultimate Stoic guide to life. Ancient wisdom for modern strength. May these lessons guide you, strengthen you, and remind you that no matter what happens, you already carry the power to endure, to grow, and to live with calm in a chaotic world.